Welcome to CTE. This is our Policies and Procedures Industry Certification Tracking Training video. During this video, we're going to cover all the parts on your teacher and proctor checklist. Those will include our CTE Policies and Procedures Manual, the Policies and Procedures Training video, which you're currently watching. We're going to talk about passing the CTE Industry Certification Policies and Procedures quiz with a 100%, and we're also going to go over the CAPE Teacher and Proctor Agreement forms, where you can find them and where you must send them to once they are signed. The teacher and proctor checklist. Number one, you need to familiarize yourself with schools' industry certification testing processes. Your school is different from every other school, so please make sure you work with your administrator and other CTE teachers at least 1 month before you want to offer an industry certification to make sure that you have the tests available, you have a proctor available, and you have a proper environment in which you can test your students in. Teachers, you need to complete the Teacher Industry Certification form the first month of school. The Teacher Industry Certification Intent form is where you will upload a copy of your industry certification that you plan on administering or offering to your students that school year, as well as what courses those will be offered in. That is very important in order to ensure proper CAPE funding is received when those students test. You also need to familiarize yourself with the industry certification tracking sheets. Those may not be available to you the first month of school, but soon after they will be released, and you can find those on our website, which is www.leeschools.net/CTE. If you put in the www, it will go straight to our website. Teacher and proctor conduct. Every year you will have to take this training. Even if you've done it in years past, you will also have to retake the Policies and Procedures quiz, as well as signing a couple of forms for us. The two forms that we require this year are the Statement of Educational Integrity form and the form FCAPE-03. Both of these forms are intended to make sure that you understand and acknowledge the importance of integrity of the test environment and are aware of the consequences if your behavior is questionable or if the integrity is disrupted. Teachers, you are not permitted to proctor an exam that you are providing direct instruction for. That includes to any students that aren't in your class, your students, or any teacher that is also preparing for that exam and you're proctoring it. You may not do that. Exposure to the exam weakens the opportunity to maintain integrity. Anyone not taking the exam or proctoring the exam should not be in the testing environment. All proctors as well as teachers are required to take Policies and Procedures training, sign the Statement of Educational Integrity form, and also the FCAPE-03 form, and return them to the CTE TOA before they may proctor an industry certification or offer instruction toward an industry certification. Failure to return the required forms before an industry certification exams are delivered to students or teachers will result in disciplinary actions, and industry certifications may not be reported to the DOE, resulting in loss of CAPE funds. Any unethical or questionable test practices must be reported to your administration and to a CTE TOA immediately. Details included in the report that you should gather include a description of the incident, any names involved, witnesses, or any other detail you find necessary, including a list of all the people that are in the room. When a teacher takes a certification exam, they must be monitored by a proctor at all times. Teachers may not have cell phones, testing aids, or any other devices used for recording. No smartwatches, no calculator, no notes. Any suspicion or observation of unethical behavior must be reported to your administration and to a TOA in the CTE department immediately. Pause the video here and refer to the slide presentation for active links to the Statement of Educational Integrity form and the form FCAPE-03. Or you may also go to www.leeschools.net/CTE. Sign the forms and return those to the CTE information specialist before you test anybody, preferably the first month of school. To talk about the certification testing environment. It is important that you know certification testing may only take place in an improved environment by the certified testing agency. The testing lab must be quiet at all times, and only test candidates are permitted in the room as well as the proctor, no other adults. Just like with the teacher, test candidates are not allowed to have any test aids or recording devices such as smartphones, cell phones, no paper, no pencil, nothing that they can have with any information to help them on the exam. Again, once a student has finished testing, they should leave the room immediately and not stay in there other people who are testing. Proctors are responsible for verifying a candidate's identification and ensuring that the candidate has selected the appropriate exam to be taken. In an example such as Certiport, students can go in and often there are multiple tests available for them to choose. As a proctor, you need to talk with this test taker and verify that the test they selected is the one they're supposed to take. Paper sign-in sheets or Google Sheets must be maintained for each testing lab with a sign-in, sign-out. We need to know who the proctor is, the date, the time, and if there are any test irregularities that happened at that time. The proctor should also be able to view all candidates that are testing during the exam session. That means they should be up walking around, monitoring students so that they can clearly see them and not just sitting back at a desk. Constant supervision and proximity to test takers helps to lessen the temptation for candidates to cheat or to become a distraction while they're in their testing. The proctor cannot assist candidates in any way with exam questions. You can help them log in and make sure that they're on the test and how to exit, but you may not help with any content on the exam. Whether you're the teacher or a student taking an exam or a proctor watching someone, failure to follow certified testing agency guidelines could result in disciplinary actions, invalidation of exams, the inability to sit for future certifications, and it could also result in the loss of CAPE industry certifications being reported to the DOE. A school has to report academic dishonesty to a certified testing agency and your TOA, CTE TOA, within 3 business days, unless the certifying agency has a stricter requirement. And again, this report should include a description of what happened, any witnesses, any other people in the room, and any kind of other important information related to the incident. How to report testing issues. It is extremely important to know that the only way a test can be invalidated is due to a technical, such as hardware or software issue. A student being sick during the test time, being called out during a test time, having a fire drill during the test time does not constitute a technical issue that will allow for an invalidation of a test. So if you do have a technical or hardware software issue, you need to first off call the certifying test agency to report the issue. Often they can help you resolve that issue right then and there so that a student can continue with the test. If the issue is resolved on the phone with the certifying test agency, please enter a help ticket into our district's help system so that we're aware of the issue. If they are not able to help you, please issue a help ticket. We will work on getting that issue resolved. And once the ticket is closed, you will be notified if the student may retake the exam within the 20-day period. If an exam attempt is invalidated by the certifying agency due to a test irregularity and you submitted a help ticket to the district, then you will be notified when that help ticket is clear and you will be given permission to test the student before the 21-day wait period has lapsed. You may not test a student until a help ticket is closed. So do not test a student until you hear from CTE that it is okay to test them before that 21-day wait period. If you test a student before that wait period and the test was not invalidated, you will lose the chance to report that certification for CAPE funds.
Teacher certification. Teachers must hold the most current certifications for their program prior to preparing students for that certification per Florida Statute Section 1003.493. The FLDOE requires teachers to submit proof of their industry certifications. As teachers earn or update industry certifications, they must upload proof of certifications by August 31st using the industry certification intent form for high school teachers and proof of digital tools certification forms with middle school teachers. All teachers new to CTE and or industry certifications must contact a CTE TOA to complete industry certification exams at Lee County Public Education Center. New teachers may not take certification exams at their school. Prior to sitting for an industry certification exam, teachers must display a level of proficiency on exam objectives by obtaining a minimum of 3 practice test scores of 80% or higher. Teachers who need to retake the exam must adhere to the retake policies provided by the certified testing agency. Teachers who achieve a passing score on a certification exam may not retake an industry certification exam. This is the action that needs to be required. Complete and submit your industry certification intent form, as well as, if you're in middle school, your proof digital tool certification form. Student certification. Only students who have submitted a signed code of conduct specifically indicating directory release may create curriculum or exam accounts with certified testing centers. Certiport, UCertify, Summit Testing are some examples. Students will prepare for each certification exam by attaining 3 practice scores of 80% or greater. Practice tests must cover all exam objectives. Proof of practice test mastery must be included in your school's industry certification Google tracking sheet. Student certification exams must be proctored by their school's technology specialist, instructional technology specialist, testing coordinator, or other approved proctors who does not serve as their student's direct instructor. This is very important. Teachers cannot test their own students. Teachers must not administer any industry certification exam to students to whom when they provide direct instruction for their certification or if they offer the same certification. An exam cannot be taken over the course of 2 school days. It must be administered in one sitting. Exams must not be administered more than 3 times during the academic year. Retesting on or after the 21st day. These are 21 real days. If a student fails an exam attempt, they must master all the exam competencies through 3 additional practice exam scores of 80% or greater and tutorial completion and or skill demonstration before retesting per Florida Rule 6A 6.0576. Students' industry certification scores, including both failed and pass attempts, and a link to a copy of the student certificates must be inputted by the teacher of instruction within 3 days of industry certification testing using your school's industry certification Google tracking sheet. A copy of the score report is not acceptable. Schools are expected to maintain an 80% pass rate on each individual certification exam. Failure to exceed the state-required 50% pass rate will result in a 3-year strategic plan of improvement, which could ultimately result in instructor reassignment and or academy closure per Florida Statute Section 1003.493.
Hello and welcome to the Industry Certification Google Tracking Sheets portion of our CTE Policies and Procedures training. To locate your school's tracking sheet, you can go to leeschools.net/CTE, Industry Certification Information. Click the folder icon that says Industry Certification Google Tracking Sheet. On your school's tracking sheet, you will have your own tab that has your name on it. Be sure to enter any industry certification attempts within 3 days of testing. You can upload multiple student certificates in one PDF, but do not exceed 20 students per PDF, and do not group together certifications earned on different dates into one PDF. All teachers are responsible for the accuracy of their own data. Select from the drop-downs your school, teacher name, and student grade level. Enter your teacher district ID number and select the grade level of the student who tested. You can enter the same information by entering it twice, selecting 2 cells and dragging it down to spread it to multiple columns. This does not work if the column starts with 0, or if you only enter it once and try and drag it down, in which case it will count up. So enter it twice, select both cells and drag it down and you don't have to enter it multiple times. Select the program number and course number. Enter the student's ID number, their first and last name. However the name is entered into Focus, you can enter it into the tracking sheet, including any special characters. If the name on the student certificate is significantly different from the name on the spreadsheet or in Focus due to a legal name change, or if the testing agency account has information errored into it, please contact your CTE information specialist to get it adjusted. Select the title of the certification test that was taken. If you do not see the title of the test that was taken, contact the CTE information specialist to get it added. You may have to complete the attempt form again if your teacher industry certification is not on file. And again, prior to sitting to the exam, students must attain a minimum of 3 practice test scores of 80% or greater. Select if the attempt is a pass or a fail. All failures and passing test scores must be entered, both types of attempts. Why? To ensure that all attempts are 3 weeks apart. Remember, you must wait 21 days before retesting a student after a failed attempt. You can also only test a student 3 times a year. In the certification image link column, paste a copy of the student certificate. To get a link to your student certificate, you must upload the student certificate to your student cert folder on the CTE Google Drive. How do you upload it? Right-click inside your student cert folder and select File Upload. Once you have the file uploaded, click on the 3 ellipsis icon and select Copy Link, and then you can paste the link into the certification image link column. A copy of the student certificate is required because it needs to have a verifiable certificate ID number. This is why you cannot link a score report. Any certification attempt that has been verified will contain a date in the verified column. An attempt cannot be verified if there is missing or incorrect information. Any entry that is missing or has incorrect information will be highlighted in yellow and moved to the bottom of your tracking sheet. So check back after you've entered your information to be sure if any entry has been flagged as incomplete. Once it has been verified, the certification attempts will be locked for editing. If you need an entry to be edited, just contact the CTE information specialist, or you can leave a comment in the comments column of the tracking sheet. For any teacher who is offering Adobe certifications, certifications are known as bundle certifications, as they require 2 different Adobe certificates in order to be complete. For instance, to be certified in visual design, it requires both Adobe Photoshop as well as Adobe Illustrator or Adobe InDesign. Each of the 3 Adobe Certified Professional certifications require one type of cert and then an optional second cert that can be either or one. For instance, video design requires Premiere Pro and web design requires Dreamweaver. If each half of the bundle is completed under a different teacher, then both teachers will receive the CAPE funding associated with the completed Adobe bundle. To see if a student has previously completed half of an Adobe bundle, use Ctrl+F to search for their student ID in the Partials Bundle tab, and as well as the Almost Adobe Bundle tab. Be sure to, when you are entering anything into the Adobe Bundle tab, to include all attempts, both passes and failures. In the certification image link column, edit the link text to display the cert type as well as the teacher name to ensure that both teachers receive credits for their half of the bundle. Or in the case of one teacher completing the bundle, that teacher receives all of the credits. When you are entering the second half of a bundle, be sure to enter it into both the Almost About Adobe Bundle tab as well as your teacher name bundle tab. We've reached the end of the CTE Policies and Procedures training. Please pause the training and proceed to the CTE Industry Certification Policies and Procedures quiz. And be sure that once you've finished the quiz, that you have finished with a score of 100%. You can check your score by clicking the View Accuracy button. If it is not 100%, please retake the quiz. Other items that are required: the Industry Certification Intent Form, your Statement of Educational Integrity Form, and Form FCAPE A03. Remember, for a link to any of the CTE industry certification resources, you can go to leeschools.net/CTE. Be sure to put the www in front of it, and then select industry certification information. Thank you for attending this training.